Start the show.
Hello. I barely hear anything in my headphones. Is that me? Check. There we go. That's good.
All right, we're now live. You all right over there, Matt?
Yeah, just waiting for you guys to freaking start the show.
Yeah, here. I'm just going to share our video from the blast while we get set up.
Okay.
Section 336 is live now. I see us.
Guys, I'm bored.
We've got like 6 more weeks that we got to do podcasts without the Ravens.
No more football. Pitchers and catchers don't even report for like another 6 or
No,
7 weeks.
don't even start pitchers and catchers, then we can see little pictures on Twitter of Florida for 2 months.
Where it's 80 degrees.
So what are we going to do?
I don't know. I can't go home because at home there's a television with the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch the NFL playoffs without the Ravens.
But it's a Saturday night. Like, we should be doing something.
Yeah. We go outside and pick up basketball or something.
If we go to D.C., we got hockey, basketball.
Yeah.
Wizards. Yeah, and you also might get mugged walking to the ride.
Yeah, it is Washington. Well,
Yeah.
what are we supposed to do in Baltimore?
That's a safer city.
I mean, you want to riot?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little too cold for rioting right
And
now.
that wouldn't do so well for our podcast. We need to focus on sports.
Oh, yeah, sports.
Don't they do a tennis thing in Baltimore?
I don't know about tennis.
Who cares? I want to have something fun indoors, something that will be a blast.
Huh. What could we do indoor in Baltimore that would be a blast?
I hear some noise down the hallway. Should we check it out?
First year's last game. Boys, I'm already thoroughly confused. There's no out of bounds. I know blue card not bounds. I have no idea what's going on. But I thought Falcon would be slow, but it's acting forward.
Fast-paced.
Fast-paced acting.
I like the one-on-one.
Yeah. The one-on-one thing and the thing. We get 4 predictions.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm having a blast. The goalie just got kicked in the crotch.
I will tell you, my favorite part so far about indoor soccer is the collisions.
Yes.
Players keep running into each other. That's my favorite part.
It's a lot of full contact here. No pads.
And no goalie box or anything. You can run a full steam into the goalie.
Yeah, that goalie just got kicked in the crotch.
What a game. My first Baltimore Blast game, your guys' first Baltimore Blast game in
30 years.
100 years.
Yeah.
I'd say we saw Pat Healy come back, make his return as a Baltimore hero. It was a great show.
Final score 7-2. Almost a shutout. I almost got that shutout I wanted.
You know what?
We were controlled the whole time, though.
Perfect weather.
Yeah.
No wind, no snow, no rain.
Nope.
Absolutely.
Nice air-conditioned space.
Gorgeous sunshine or light shine.
A local sports team that wins?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Defending champions of the MASL.
I'll tell you what. And we are, of course, here, you can tell. Section 336 is here on field, right in front of the goal, because that's how we roll. This is the actual goal.
If I was on the Baltimore Blast, I feel like I would be a goalie. Like,
I don't know, there was
that goalie was pretty good.
you had a lookalike that was...
Yeah.
sorry, I dove off frame.
Security has already called us once, alright? We're getting triple once.
Sorry.
Probably letting that happen again.
Yeah, all this team does is win. They got 17 banners hanging up over there?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's more banners than the Orioles and Ravens combined.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say, I think we can all agree, boys, that our experience here was an absolute blast.
Yes, a blast.
Well spoken.
No, I think it's cool. Especially, did you notice how many little kids there were? Like, I wish I brought my family.
Yeah, this is very
It's
kid-friendly.
awesome for kids.
Very kid-friendly.
As we're doing our closing remarks here, they're signing autographs on the field for all the
very
kids.
accessible.
It's very cool.
All in all, a great time.
Yeah, it's great. So check out the Blast. They've got, what did they say, 7 more home games? Something like that this season?
Absolutely.
I think it's safe to say we'll be back. We'll come back for sure.
And I think I'm going to bring the family.
Absolutely.
And bring the girls. It'll be fun.
Cool. Well, can we end the segment with like a Blast?
Yeah, ready?
Okay, on my count.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Go
Blast!
Anywhere out.
All right. We're on Facebook. You ready to go?
Hit the button.
Have you heard? The bird is the word. Section 336. The next generation of Baltimore sports talk.
Today on the show, we discuss our night at the night at the arena, as Section 336 attended a Baltimore Blast game on Saturday. And our one call away this week is in keeping with our Baltimore Blast coverage. And of course, we will share our thoughts about the Seth Smith deal, acquisition of Seth Smith for Yavani Gallardo. We'll get into that too. All that and more on this edition of Section 336.
Section 336. Section 336. Section 336. It's the new Baltimore generation talking about the Orioles and the Ravens. And someday Josh, Bert, and Matt might even find time to talk about the Blasts. This is the world's greatest podcast. No better place to talk about sports that are being played in Baltimore. Section 336. Section 336. Section 336. Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, the next generation of Baltimore sports talk. I am your endearingly stuttering host, Matt Soroka. As always, I'm joined by the zany Bert Rode.
Celebrate good times. Come on. Do 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 do.
And the button lover, Josh Soroka.
How's it going? Our extra long intro.
Yeah.
I realized that if you watch on Facebook, you get to listen to our theme song and watch all of us just stare around at our phones and computers as we wait for the song to end.
And we're also joined by the intern.
What's good?
I was also thinking as I opened up Facebook because you said we're going live, and then I was watching the video that we made on Saturday, and it said live in the top corner. Kind of deceiving.
We were playing it live.
Yeah. But the video itself wasn't live.
It was pre-recorded at the Royal Farms Arena Saturday night. Baltimore Blast versus the Dallas Sidekicks.
Yeah, so we've been talking about, and Bert made an excellent, astute comment before the show saying, our theme song said we may even talk about the Blast. Well, now you can drop that may. We will talk about the Blast
every once in a while. Today.
Today's a pretty big Blast-centric episode.
Absolutely. It was my first Blast experience. Your guys' first time you guys been blasted in a while.
Yeah. I haven't been blasted like that in a while. Yeah, it was a good time.
It was neat to go as like adults and see indoor soccer.
Yeah.
And it's way more fun than outdoor soccer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Well, and here's the thing, and I was thinking about this, and I'm not a huge soccer guy, but it was entertaining. And I was thinking about this, as far as sports go, I think of like American football, and I know people say like they knock baseball as being too slow. For me, football is even slower than baseball. I mean, because if you think about it, like between every play, there's like 30 seconds as guys stand up and line up, and then you have like a 5-second play, and then there's like 45 more seconds as they line up and get ready for the next play.
Play clock.
Yeah, but there's only like 5 seconds of actual play time every minute.
Sure.
Whereas in the soccer game, like it was, the quarters are 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was like the clock never stopped.
Pretty much, yeah. Except for after a goal, or I think if the ball went out of play.
Yeah.
Other than that, or if somebody got hurt.
Right.
Other than that, the clock is ticking, baby.
Yeah. And though it's indoor soccer, there's still some flopping going on. Like on outdoor soccer.
Yeah.
People holding their face, pretty dramatic.
Yeah. There's got to be some rug burns from all that flopping.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when we went down on the field, it's just like your fake grass that you would buy at Home Depot.
Sure, it had a little cushion to it.
Right. Yeah, it had some padding underneath, but it didn't look very fancy.
I wouldn't have wanted to like take a dive, a running dive shirtless onto it.
Yeah. And there was also a lot of like creases and like seams in it. Kind of reminds. I haven't really been on Roger Stadium's turf, but it would
Roger Stadium.
What's Roger Stadium? Oh,
Rogers Center.
Rogers
the Rogers Center.
Right.
Rogers
Toronto. Yeah.
Just say the Sky Dome. We all know.
Gotta stay up with the times, guys. But crappy like that. At least before they resurfaced it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
I think it's hard to imagine that the Rogers Center would be in as bad shape as the turf was at the Royal Farm Arena.
I was trying to take a dig at the Blue Jays. All right, let me break.
Well, did you mention that we're going to be talking with the member of the Blast in a few minutes?
Yeah, we are. We're one of the soccer players. We're gonna
footballers.
Footballers.
If they play indoor soccer, are they still referred to as footballers?
We
and then what would you call an indoor football player?
And did our guy start off as an outdoor soccer player, or
I'm sure.
Have you ever
heard of kids that grew up playing indoor soccer?
Yeah, but they usually do both.
Right.
They play indoor in the winter and then outdoor in the fall and the spring.
There's not many high school.
You don't play. There's not many
indoor soccer teams.
No, and it's usually the guys who take soccer very seriously, who need to play year round because it's like in their blood, and so they get used to playing indoor and outdoor.
Right.
And once you get to be that age, you're not still playing soccer indoor and outdoor unless it's a real passion,
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And none of us played soccer as kids, right?
I didn't. I got a letter when I first entered high school inviting me to come out and try out for the soccer team my freshman year. You get it like a month before the first day of school.
Yeah.
Because that's when soccer practice starts, when you're on the high school
right.
soccer team. And I remember specifically in the letter, it's talked about how much running they do just in practice. Like we run so many miles every day of practice. I was like, not for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I stuck with baseball.
Yeah, for me, the high school soccer team was the big push because there was no football team.
Yeah, we didn't have a football team at
right?
the time.
So
either.
they pushed soccer. I never played. I played 1 year intramurals soccer in college. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing that I had to actually like work out and practice for.
No.
But I
definitely didn't work out.
Right. I can show up to a field and kick a ball. I mean, that sounds.
Soccer is the kind of sport where it's fun. Like even when we got down on the field at the Royal Farms Arena Saturday night,
we wanted a ball.
Yeah, like it's fun to like pretend that I'm good at soccer and like try to do like foot tricks and stuff. But I'm laughing stock.
Yeah. It was the collisions on the field. It was almost like watching a hockey game. The way they just run into each other.
Yeah, they didn't hold back.
Yeah, and the line changes too were like a hockey game. Just guys popping in and hopping out.
Penalty box
in the middle of play.
It's basically hockey on grass.
And for the like, it was really cool. It was fun to see. Real talk though, like there was some downsides too. Hashtag real talk. Hashtag keeping it real. Hashtag sorry not sorry.
Sure.
For example, I'm not sure if I would take my wife to such an event because, and Bert, maybe you can speak to this. Like it's not a huge deal. But when I go to a place to watch an event, I don't want to spend, what was it, $10 for a beer.
Oh yeah.
That was a little outrageous.
It was a little outrageous at the Royal Farms Arena, or the chicken box as it's sometimes referred to.
Yeah. But the play on it, the play on the field itself was good. So let's talk about that.
You used to. Yeah. You used to call me on my cell phone. Late night when you need.
Section 336 is now excited to be joined by Tony Dontelli, player for the Baltimore Blast. Tony, thanks for joining us here on Section 336.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to talk to you. We were there on Saturday. We watched you play. The Baltimore Blast have been like recently, and even for the past, I mean, in this most recent version of Baltimore Blast, 8 championships. Since 2010, you've gone to the finals every year and won twice. I know last year, Tony, you were a big part about the championship last year. What's the key to the Blast being so consistently good every single year?
Well, I think a lot of credit has to go to, Kevin Healy, the GM, Ed Hill, the owner, and Danny Kelly and David Vasco, the coaches. They implement, a good system. They bring in the right type of players that fit into that system. And, we have a good team with great talent, and it shows on the field every year.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's fun to watch. I mean, we were there when you guys beat the Sidekicks 7-2. And by the way, a little side note here. I know that you got a couple goals in that game, so congrats on that. You also got an assist. And I was a little bit, and Tony, you can share your frustrations here on Section 336. I was a little annoyed that you didn't get the player of the game at the end of the game. And you mentioned Healy, the GM. Did that have something to do with it? I know his son got the player of the game. Were you a little bit annoyed at that, huh?
No, not really. That doesn't mean too much to me. And Pat's such a great player, and it's great to have him back on the team. It was his first home game, and as a defender to have a goal and an assist and to shut out the other team to 2 goals, shut them down to 2 goals. He was a big part of our win. So, we don't really care about that as long as the team gets to win.
Okay. Well, I noticed Tony for you, and I care for you, and it bothered me.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Now, this is the first time we've gone to a Blast game in decades, since we were kids. Everyone grows up playing soccer in some form. What's the transition like from going with traditional outdoor soccer to playing indoor soccer?
Yeah, there's a big adjustment period. New players coming into the indoor game, there's definitely a learning process that takes place. The game's a lot faster. You have a lot less time on the ball, and, things happen quickly. It's an exciting game for the fans. There's a lot of goals. There's a lot of action. It's up and down, and it takes time to adjust to that. But it's definitely a fun game, and it's something I enjoy doing as much as outdoor.
All right, cool. Tony, we only got a short amount of time with you, and I got a bunch of questions, so I want to jump right into it.
Sure.
I looked at your Wikipedia page, and first of all, congrats on having a Wikipedia page. One of my lifelong goals. Still haven't gotten there yet.
Thank you.
But I see you're from Glenside, Pennsylvania, which, by the way, we cover the Baltimore Orioles a lot, and Clay Dalrymple is from there, who played in the Orioles in '69 through '71,
Old
part of the
catcher.
World Series time,
Yeah.
old catcher. But since college, I was looking at your Wikipedia page. Since college, and you can correct me if this list is right or wrong, but you played for the Ocean City Barons, the Vancouver Whitecaps, the Montreal Impacts, the Charleston Battery, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but like on the side there was a mention of the VSI Tampa Bay, the Ottawa Fury, Harrisburg City Islanders. Have you really played for all these teams?
Yeah, that's true. I think there's a Rochester Rhinos in there, Philadelphia Six as well. So yeah,
Why?
I was playing for quite a few years. I was playing indoor and outdoor, so that has something to do with it. And as a young player, a single person, I love to travel, and I was able to get offers from so many great cities and organizations. So I couldn't turn a lot of them down, and I really don't regret any of those decisions. I really enjoyed all those cities.
That's really cool.
Yeah, such a cool opportunity. Is this the typical route? If you want to play professionally soccer in America, you kind of have to be able to and willing to move to where there's opportunity. Is that typical?
I think it's pretty common, especially not at the highest level of MLS. I mean, at the lower levels, you're definitely just taking every opportunity that you can get. I'm lucky and fortunate enough to have called Baltimore my home for the last 5 years, so I've been able to settle down as I'm getting older in my career. But I think it's pretty common, and guys are willing to move around to live out their dream of playing professional soccer.
Yes, very cool. So what has been your favorite place to live at? For amongst all these places,
it's hard to pick one.
Well, go
I love
and try.
Baltimore. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, that's a good answer
great,
right
but,
there. I don't believe you, but good answer.
I really enjoyed Vancouver, Montreal were 2 really great cities up in Canada, and even Charleston as well. It was a beautiful city to live in. So I've been fortunate to have some really great cities that I've lived in.
Yeah, and you've had a nice long career. You've been playing professionally for how many years now? What is it, 9, 10?
It's 11, I think, now.
Wow.
My 11th year. So
Good for you. And what I'm always curious about this, because soccer is kind of, it's the world's most popular sport, but in America we kind of really haven't embraced it like they have in other countries. In your career, have you seen the popularity of soccer change, and where do you think, as far as popularity goes, how do you think soccer is doing right now in America?
Well, I think it's grown a lot, just from when I started 10, 11 years ago as a professional to now. If you look at the MLS, I think they've doubled in size. The attendance is much higher, salaries, the quality of play they're bringing over is great. the leagues that exist now and the opportunities in North America to play professional soccer are much greater.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely growing, and it's exciting, to see that. I think we're moving up in the list of, professional sports in this country. So it's something that I'm happy with and proud of to be a part of.
Yeah, it's cool. And I was going to say, my thinking was, because we see the state of football right now, and football is concerned about their popularity, American football, because of the concussions and stuff. And I was going to make a comment how, well, maybe parents are more likely to push their kids towards soccer because football is dangerous. But I tell you what, watching that game on Saturday, I wouldn't be shocked if concussions happen all the time in indoor soccer. I mean, that was a really physical game, right?
No, it is. Indoor soccer is a lot different than outdoor soccer. It's much more physical, demanding on your body, and injuries happen. And it's, there are collisions, and I guess some of the fans like to see it, but definitely, put some people in harm's way. And, but no, for sure, it's definitely still a safer sport than maybe football. And you can see it in the youth today, how many kids are playing soccer growing up. So it's good to see that popularity grow.
I enjoy the collisions.
Yeah,
I like that. I like the exciting part of that. I thought that was fun. The Baltimore Arena. We hear all the time about how the Baltimore Arena is kind of subpar compared to what all the other cities have going on. And then even when we were down on the field after the game, we noticed that there's a lot of uneven surfaces and stuff. Is that common? Is that how it is? That you're just used to playing on uneven turf?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty common throughout the league because most organizations, they're sharing the arenas with other sports, whether it's hockey or other events, so they can't have the turf laid out throughout the whole winter.
Right.
There are a few that do have it, and it's obviously much better conditions, but we understand the business side of it and how there's other events going on, so it does make it a little bit tougher to play. But we're used to it at this point, and it's a little bit of a home field advantage for us.
Sure, of course. If you're used to it and you know where those dips are, that helps out.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
My favorite part about soccer, and I'm not a huge soccer guy, but my favorite part is I'm with Josh. I like the collisions, but more specifically, I like the reaction of the players after collisions, specifically after being like just a little bit of trip, falling over and holding the face and kind of overreacting. Is there? Right. Yeah. Is this part of the indoor soccer culture too? This idea of flopping and exaggerating your injuries.
I don't know about the whole flopping thing. I think there is a lot more personalities that come out, whether that's over exaggerating an injury or celebration on goals. No, there is a lot of there's still a show that we're trying to put on for the fans. So I think guys are, allowed to express themselves in a certain way to a limit and not, hindering the game.
Yeah, I thought something was interesting watching the game Saturday too. Was you guys, like we've been saying, are very physical, a lot of collisions, yes. But there was also a visible camaraderie between the Blast players and the Sidekicks players. Yes. When the teams got introduced, you guys were hugging each other. Like, do you tend to know some of the guys on the other teams or have played together before? You have relationships with guys all around the MASL?
Yeah, for sure. Playing, especially playing for as long as I have. Almost on every team, I have either ex-teammates or players that I've played against for a certain amount of years that you develop relationships with. But once you step on the field and the whistle blows, you don't have any friends, and it's a battle out there, as you saw on Saturday. So, yeah, there's definitely our friends, but we leave that to before or after the game.
Sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned the celebrations and put on a show. I think that's great. I think it's fantastic, and some other sports have kind of shied away from that, even to the point of giving penalties for celebrating, and it's kind of ridiculous. Like, we're a sport, we should be having fun. One thing I noticed at the soccer game, a lot of young men, and pretty much everybody, likes to take their shirt off. Is this and I didn't know that this was the thing, taking your shirt off a soccer game.
Well, the fans were doing it too.
Yeah. Is this where does this come from, this taking your shirt off at a soccer game? I like it, though. I'm not knocking it. If I had a better stomach, I would take my shirt off more often.
I'm not sure it has been a thing. I know, one of our guys, when they scored, they did it. That's
yes.
One of the first times I've seen it this year, so I don't know how common that is.
Oh, it's just for you, Matt.
The fans are doing it, but yeah, I haven't done that myself. So maybe my next goal, I'll do it.
There you go.
Yeah, please do. I think it's fun and entertaining.
And you can have Section 336 painted on your chest.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm curious about the the travel accommodations, because you guys travel around a lot, and the league is spread out right across the states. What's your travel accommodations like? Do they treat you well, Tony?
Oh, they do. You know, we are put up in nice hotels usually. The travel can be difficult at times, especially when we have back-to-back games, maybe on a Friday or a Saturday. I know we played a couple weeks ago. We played at home, and then we had to fly and play in Kansas City the next night. We played in Syracuse and had to drive 4 hours and then play in Harrisburg the next day. So there is some times where it's difficult, but they do try to take care of us as best they can, put us in the best conditions to perform on the game day.
Yeah, absolutely, as well they should. So once the Blast season is over, is there another? I know I listed all those leagues that you've been a part of. So do you go right from the Blast league and do you play in another league in the off season? I guess there's no off season really, though.
I had been doing that. I have been playing indoor and outdoor up to about last year was my first year where during the summer I took off from playing outdoor. Wanted to give my body a rest and make sure I was ready for the indoor season. So I just spent the time here in Baltimore coaching and working some camps and getting back to the kids and as much as I could.
Yeah, and the whole Baltimore Blast culture seems to be very, very kid friendly. A ton of kids out there. I know you had guys on the field afterwards for signing autographs and pictures, and just props to you all for being so kid and family friendly.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, we know it's a big part of our fan base of the kids, and we do a lot of camps, and a lot of guys are coaches and have their own teams, and they get them to come out and support us. But the Blast also do a great job of getting to the local club teams and offer them great chances to come see us play. So yeah, we know that's the future of this league is those youth players. We want to give them the opportunity to meet the professional players now and have something to strive for.
And that's what all the fans we talked to and asked about. Why are you such a big Blast fan? It was because the Blast are part of the community. They give back. We can reach out to them.
Approachable, yeah.
Yeah, so that was very cool to hear when we're used to covering the Orioles and Ravens, which are not so much.
You can't talk to any of those players. We can't even get them on the phone for an interview. To get you, Tony, was no problem. Baltimore Blast is very welcoming and very friendly. We can't get an interview from it. We have to give them a right arm to get a freaking interview by a player. It's ridiculous over there.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more. Trust me, it's a lot more. It's a pain in the butt. I'm sorry, I'm digressing a little bit. What do you prefer? So you play both indoor and outdoor. What's your preference, indoor, outdoor, and why?
I get that question a lot, and it's I don't know if I have a preference. Whenever I was playing indoor, I always missed the outdoor game, and vice versa. I think as I've gotten older, the indoor game has catered, to my game. Has fit more, easily. So I'm able to play it for maybe a longer time. So yeah, I enjoy both. But at this time, definitely indoor game is what I love the most.
Yeah.
What has always shied me as a kid away from playing soccer is the running. How much do you have to run a day to keep in shape to be able to play a game?
That's a tough question. In the off season, I'm usually running 5 miles a day. Wow. During the season, we have pretty strenuous practices, usually 2 to 3 hours long. So don't really track how much we're running, but we do run quite a bit. And on off days, we're always in the gym trying to keep ourselves fit. So
yeah, that's a lot of work.
I couldn't tell you an exact answer how much we run, but I know it's a lot.
Well, maybe you can get a Fitbit and come back to us with a.
Right.
Yeah, we could maybe do that.
Yeah, if only they had things that track that.
Yeah, but so what's next for you all this season? When's your next game? When's your next home game? What's next for you guys?
We play this Saturday night at home against Harrisburg down at the arena. So it's a game. We actually lost them our last game against them for the first time in so many years. So we have revenge in our minds, and we're going to be ready for this one.
Nice.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The 14th and the 29th are the next 2 home games.
Yeah, and we encourage everyone to go out there and check it out for a good time. What Tony, we appreciate you taking a few minutes and coming on here. It was really fun to talk to you. Thanks, man.
No problem. I appreciate having me on.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Tony.
I gotta take care.
Hey, Tony.
You used to call me.
I already hung up on him.
You hung up on him?
Yeah.
I was gonna give him to the hey, listen to Section 336.
Well, we can call him back.
All right, we'll get him back on.
Me and Tony are Facebook friends now.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, well, you guys can do it on your own.
Yeah, I heard that's true.
Late night when you need my love. Call me on my cell phone. Late night when you need.
I was looking at this picture of Tony. He's a guy with just like a pretty normal haircut. Like I was hoping we'd get one of those guys with the really funky haircuts. There are a lot of funky haircuts
And facial hair.
hair.
Well, you and Santana are going for that same haircut.
Yeah, what was that guy's name?
Santana.
Yeah, I was trying to remember his first name.
Oh, I don't know.
Number 78.
I don't know. I think I enjoyed the goalie was exciting to watch.
Nelson Santana ripping off my haircut. Defender from Oakland, California.
Yeah, the goalie was very enthusiastic.
Yeah, even when he got kicked in the crotch.
Oh, and there was Andrew Hoxie with the mustache. A lot of colorful personalities, I think, on this team.
Yeah, it was. We had more fun than we kind of expected going to watch the Blast.
I like that interview. Tony's a good interview.
Yeah.
Not all players are good interviewers.
No.
Well, when's the last time you heard an interview of a soccer player?
No.
Let alone one that you were like interested in. Like this is a local guy.
Yeah, I know. But sometimes we even talk to baseball players and they don't give us much to work with.
Right.
I mean, that's a good interview.
They're phoning it in.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally.
Right. Tony's the guy we could go enjoy watching the Oriole game with or something in the summer when he's giving back to the community.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having him back on the show. I don't know what
guy.
his sports affiliation is. I don't want to mind him back on the show. He's good. That's good.
Yep.
That's good.
And hey, it took 190. What is this? 98 episodes, and we finally got to the Blast.
Yeah.
We can just call ourselves the Blastastics now.
We are now officially, if we weren't before, we are
The
definitely
Blastics.
Baltimore's best sports podcast.
Yep.
I mean, because what other sports podcast in Baltimore talks about the Orioles, Ravens, and the Blast?
No,
None.
Give me one.
None.
And you know what? We're gonna continue
We
mixing
covered
in
all.
a little Blast.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
we got to
'cause
check
that's fun.
in, especially, they're defending champions. What if they're going to the championship game again this year? Half the city of Baltimore won't even know unless Section 336
But we'll
tells
be
them
there
about it.
covering it, absolutely.
If it's a home championship game, yeah, we should be there doing it again.
Now, we got a question in the chat room. Are you guys going to go more often now to
Probably
the
not,
Baltimore
no.
Blast?
I'm sorry. If you guys can just lower the beer prices, man. Like when I go to any sporting event, whether it's the Orioles or Ravens,
Yeah.
I like to bring I'll bring my own peanut butter jelly sandwich,
Sure.
some green beans, a mango maybe,
Uh-huh.
and then I like to purchase a beer or two while I watch the game.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Concessions is a little high there.
It was pricey. How much did you pay for that beer, Bert?
$10.25.
$10.25 for a beer.
Yeah. And it was a Bud Light. It wasn't like a Dogfish Head or
premium,
something.
And it's not like listen, I can afford a $10 beer. I can afford it. But it's the principle of the thing that I'm paying $10 for a Bud Light.
But the truth is, we are going to go more often. I mean, we didn't go in 30 years. We went once.
That's true.
Yeah, we will go more often.
I'll go more than once in the next 30 years. Yeah, that's true.
And I mentioned to the youth director at the church that said, hey, the Blast is a great thing that you could take a bunch of middle school kids to. It's a fun activity.
Yes.
Oh, totally.
You can take your shirt off. It's great. Yeah.
Right. Middle school boys will love going to the Baltimore Blast game.
They love taking shirts off.
So I might take a group like that up in the future, I'm thinking.
Yeah. And they don't drink beer, so they don't have to worry about the 10.25 beers.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if the Blast hosts the championship game, I'll go if I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, that'll be fun. The fans were fun.
I like all those ifs. If it's the championship game, and if I'm not doing anything, I'll consider it.
If I don't have anything better to be doing, yeah. Josh kept saying all week leading up to this that we hadn't been to a game in 30 years, but I mean that's a bit of a fib because I did go.
You guys are freaking. You guys are
I
freaking
haven't
34.
gone in 30 years.
Yeah, I went. I took my daughter to a Blast game. I think it was maybe 5 years ago or so, and it was the championship game. They were hosting it at the Royal Farms Arena. I can't remember who they were playing against, but they lost, and it was something I've never experienced where it's a championship game and your home team loses on its own home field. I mean, that's never happened with the Orioles or the Ravens in my lifetime that I've been there personally to witness it. It was a little weird seeing the opposing team celebrate their championship, getting the trophy ceremony right there on the floor of the Royal Farms Arena.
Yeah, that sucks.
That's never fun.
But I had a good time. We got a vuvuzela.
What was it like the game on Saturday where there was like a hardcore, but a group of about 6 of the slapsticks? What was the opponents' names? The slip and slide sidekicks.
Oh yeah,
there was a group of like 5 sidekick fans.
And 5 is being generous because I only saw 3.
I saw 3. Yeah.
Maybe it's 3.
I guess the Dallas Sidekick fans don't travel well.
Yeah. And we got another comment from John saying Falcon Stadium has cheaper beer. I know for a
The Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah. But I know for a fact that John is too young to be drinking that beer anyway.
Uh-oh.
So don't worry about it, John. All right. All right. I want to get into some Orioles talk. I got some thoughts on this Seth Smith
You mean
deal.
because they actually did something?
Yeah.
With Seth Smith?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got some thoughts about this thing. I want to look at it from a few different angles. All right. Let's talk about it first from a Dan Duquette angle. So Dan Duquette trades Yovani Gallardo in the middle of his 2-year, $22 million deal. Mm-hmm. He trades him to Seattle for Seth Smith. Of course, last year was the famous deal with Seattle for
Mark Trumbo.
There was also the midseason deal for Wade Miley.
Adam Jones,
going
Chris
way
Tillman.
back. We can go back.
We've gotten lots of good players from the
to
Mariners.
the best deal of all time one of the best deals of all time, that Eric Bedard deal that got us Adam Jones and Chris Tillman and George Sherrill, and that was so much fun. But I want to talk about it from this angle, where I think this was a gutsy move by Dan Duquette, kind of like a swallow your pride moment from Dan Duquette. So Yovani Gallardo is coming off of what's by far his worst year as a major leaguer.
Right. Yeah. He can kind of only go up.
Yeah. Yeah, like he had an ERA last year of 5.42, whereas the career's ERA is well below 4. He only pitched in 118 innings. This is after we heard all the time he's never missed games. He's there at 200 innings. He didn't come close to it with 118 innings. So we gave him a draft pick. We signed to $22 million, which I think is the number, and then there's an option, a $13 million option for a third year. And after one bad year...
He gone?
It would have been easy for Dan Duquette to say, hey, listen, I gave him a draft pick. I signed this guy for $22 million, an option for a third year. He had a really bad year last year. The whole buy low, sell high notion, like, he's at his lowest. So Dan Duquette could have argued, saying, hey, listen, right now it looks like a bad deal, but if Gallardo comes back next year, throws to an ERA under 4, wins 12 games, 15 games, all of a sudden Dan Duquette looks like that's a pretty decent move, right? And Dan Duquette has an opportunity to redeem himself for making a bad deal, for making a bad signing.
Sure.
But instead of doing that, Dan Duquette says, hey, listen, I made a mistake signing Yovani Gallardo. He's not that good. Let me trade him and move on. And so he didn't hold on to him too long just to try to get something out of that money he paid for him. He said, you know what? Hey, I made a bad move. His stock is dropping. His stock will probably continue to drop. He's not very good.
Cut your losses.
Let me cut my losses now and get a player that can really help our team.
Well, yeah. And
so from Dan Duquette's perspective, I think it shows, Yovani Gallardo signing was a mistake. That was bad. But it does show at least he's willing to make something.
He won't say it was bad. He'll just say it didn't work out.
No, it was a bad move.
But
he's making chicken salad out of chicken poop.
He's saving money and bringing in a guy who will be an impact player.
Right.
As long as it's a right-handed pitcher. Like every other Oriole.
Right. So from Dan Duquette's perspective, a pretty decent move. From the pitching rotation's perspective.
So we had an extra guy anyway.
Yeah. We had an extra guy.
But an extra guy as in our level extra guy. It does put some pressure on. We now have 5.
Right.
These 5 have to perform.
5 who two of them in Wade Miley and Ubaldo Jimenez, who have been consistently inconsistent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Cannot be trusted.
Right.
Yes.
At any moment could have an ERA of 9 and it wouldn't surprise anybody.
Yes.
Could not get out of the second inning.
Walk the first 6 guys they face.
Yes, that's for 5 straight starts. Like that can happen. And another guy in Dylan Bundy who pitched his first full healthy year last year in like 100 years, right? So a guy who has not been consistently healthy, Dylan Bundy. 2 other guys who have been consistently inconsistent. That's 3 out of your 5 starters.
Right. We're banking on our number 3 starter based on 3 good months of pitching ever in his career.
Right. And so that's left us with, if something doesn't work out, if Miley or Jimenez goes south, which is very possible and are atrocious, if Bundy gets hurt, then where are we? right? We're in trouble.
We're in Mike Wright and what's the other guy?
Vance Worley,
T.J. McFarland,
Tyler Wilson.
Tyler Wilson.
I thought Vance Worley's not on the team anymore.
Well, I think he's currently. Didn't we cut him? Isn't he currently a free agent?
I think he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Vance Worley. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He's in. Is he in arbitration? I think he's in arbitration, maybe.
No, you already had to sign guys through arbitration, so we let him
keep
go.
that 40 roster.
Yeah,
Man,
he's
40
gone.
Yeah, I realized Dylan Bundy, is a question mark, but Wade Miley and Jimenez as your 4 and 5 starters. I think that's pretty, standard operating procedure around the league that every team's 4 and 5 starter is going to be somebody crappy like Jimenez and Miley, right?
Right. Isn't the problem that
who has a stud number 4 starter?
The Red Sox.
Besides Red Sox.
Right.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, for years we brought in Ubaldo Jimenez to be our number 1. That was a failure. Number 4, I'll take Ubaldo Jimenez.
Well,
we brought in Wade Miley to be like a number 2, 3. I'll take him as a number 5.
I think he was brought in to be a 4.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll take him as a 5.
And Ubaldo Jimenez, the problem with Ubaldo Jimenez is he's either a 2 or he's like not even on the route. Like he's either really good, like he was the second half of last year, or he's shouldn't be starting.
Right. So we got new pitching coaches this year. Maybe they can help with some consistency if you want to put a positive spin on it.
Yeah, and there is some young guys from Jason Garcia, T.J. McFarland. You guys know the list.
Logan Verrett,
Michael Wright, like one of those guys, Logan Verrett, one of those guys could emerge.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see. But it's concerning. It's now like I was saying earlier that I thought Dylan Bundy might start in the bullpen. Not now, right?
No.
Because that was a scenario where
we have it written on the whiteboard up here.
Well, yeah, you can erase that now because that changes with the extra starters gone.
You've changed your mind?
Well, circumstances have changed.
Yeah,
so that's nothing to do with it.
I mean, that stays on the whiteboard, but I think
you can erase it because circumstances have changed.
No, because...
I no longer think Bundy's going to go to the pen. You can erase
That's
it.
like buying a lotto ticket, the pick 3 being 9999, but they lost the 9 ball. So circumstances have changed. I need to change my lottery pick.
No, I can't change my opinion based on the most recent events going on with the team.
I mean, it's written on the whiteboard. I don't think you can change it once it's written on the whiteboard.
Once it's up there, it stays because
it's permanent.
When the Orioles sign another pitcher, you're going to want it back up there, and no, it stays.
Okay, well, erase my comments about Giovanni Gallardo being our best starter too, or do I have to keep those as well?
So, Roger McDowell did make a comment this week that was interesting.
Yeah.
After years and years of Oriole fans, there's one thing that we heard about the philosophy of the Orioles pitching staff. Okay. There's one pitcher not allowed to pitch.
Cutter.
The cutter.
Yeah.
Roger McDowell said he's open to bringing the cutter into the organization. He's open to Dylan Bundy pitching the cutter.
Yeah.
I believe when he was a pitcher, he used the cutter.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
Yeah. Josh, I think you're the only person still on this issue of the cutter.
There were articles written about the fact that the Orioles weren't allowed to pitch with the cutter.
It's why Jake Arrieta sucked for us, and he's awesome for the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, when people in national media are writing articles like that, if Roger McDowell is coming in and changing that thing up, maybe that helps out this staff a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe just the fact that he says, I don't care what you pitch. If you're comfortable with the cutter, you can pitch the cutter. I'm not going to change you. Is a big difference in philosophy than we've had for many years.
Yeah. I think some of them, I think Chris Tillman was throwing the cutter last year. I think pitchers were throwing
he
them
was
already.
throwing a variation last year, yes.
Yeah. I think these pitchers do what they want anyway.
So what about the other half of the Gallardo deal? What about Seth Smith?
Yeah, so we talked about it from the Dan Duquette and then from the pitcher. What Seth Smith does for our lineup, I think, is it's a good fit, right?
Sure. I mean, we got a left-handed hitting outfielder, which we had with Hyun-Soo Kim, but is this an upgrade?
Well, he'll play the opposite corner.
It's an upgrade from Trumbo in the outfield, as far as defensively.
Yeah,
and speed. He's a fast guy, from what I understand, right?
He stole one base last year.
He's not fast, but he's faster than Trumbo.
All right,
he's average. A couple things I like about him. His OBP is the obvious one, right? I was joking on Twitter that Gallardo last year had an OBP of 600.
Right, for like 2 at bats.
It was like 4 a year or something at bats.
Oh, I thought you were serious. You were joking?
Yeah, I know. My sarcasm doesn't come across real well on the Twitters. But yeah, he ranks, if he were on our team last year, he would have been third on our team in OBP behind only Hyun-Soo Kim and Manny Machado. He had an OBP last year, 342, which is exactly like if you look at the weakness of this team, we need a right fielder, and we need someone who has good on-base percentage. So the potential for him to bat at the top of the lineup, maybe lead off, maybe second, like that possibility is there because he's a high on-base percentage guy.
Right.
Plays against righties. The other thing he does, and this goes again with that leading off type aspect, is the Orioles aren't great at taking a lot of pitches. We all know Scope and Adam Jones famously can strike out of 3 pitches better than anyone in baseball.
The Orioles tweeted out this week on their official Orioles Twitter, Joey Rickert last year batted .500 when swinging at the first pitch. I don't know what that means, but you shouldn't be celebrating swinging at the first pitch.
Yeah. Who? Joey Rickert?
Yeah.
Well, Joey Rickert, oddly enough, and this kind of makes sense if you watched him play last year, he led the team in pitches per plate appearance.
Wow.
Now, a smaller sample size, he didn't play most of the season. Nolan Reimold was second in pitches per plate appearance. He couldn't hit, but he could work the count, that guy. And the next guy who, if he was on the Orioles last year, would have been Seth Smith, who averages 4.22 pitches per plate appearance.
So that's good. As we're looking at Seth Smith as an everyday player, those other guys were not everyday players.
Yeah, and if you put him on top of the lineup, that means initially
more bats,
you're seeing
more pitches.
You're seeing more pitches. That helps out, I think, a little bit. The player sitting behind him get to see those pitches.
Yeah, that's what we're told.
Yeah.
Wow, this is interesting. Seth Smith for the Mariners last year hit 16 home runs. 4 of them were against the Orioles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
More than against any other team, especially the teams that he plays in the AL West, once a week. Against Baltimore, 4 home runs.
Yeah. And those numbers.
So good. We got him on our team.
And those numbers probably go up a little bit playing at Camden Yards every day.
He also robbed a home run in Camden Yards last year.
None of those 4 were at Camden Yards, though, last year. They must have been a Seattle series.
Yeah, I was looking at his numbers at Camden Yards. They weren't that great. He's not a plus defender, but he's average. And when you're coming from a below average Mark Trumbo, you take average, I guess. My one concern is this team is lining up to have a lot of platoon players and a lot of players and it's looking like this team might struggle against left-handed pitching,
which they did last year.
Yeah.
Last year we were always concerned, and
we haven't really addressed it.
Right, and there's a lot of left-handed pitchers in the AL East.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
With the Red Sox.
Yeah, if you just look at the Red Sox, their top 2 pitchers everybody knows, being Chris Sale,
right,
and David Price. And they also have the number 4 starter, I think will be the number 4 starter, Drew Pomerantz, a lefty.
Right.
And their 5th starter, probably Eduardo Rodriguez, our boy, former Oriole, left-handed. So 4 of their 5 starters, the best team in the AL East, 4 of their 5 starters are left-handed pitchers.
In football, we always talk about how the Ravens need to build their team to beat the Steelers, to match up well against the Steelers.
Right.
The Red Sox are built up to destroy the Orioles.
Yeah,
that's how they're designed.
So when we play the Red Sox 100 times every year to the best team in the league, we're going to bench Seth Smith and Hyun-Soo Kim every time, our 2 best on base percentage guys?
It depends. You're going to have to figure something out. I don't know.
Meanwhile, Camden Yards will be full of Red Sox fans.
They're going to take pitches, but it's going to be interesting. That's where you could help. That's where bringing a guy like Trumbo back would help.
Yeah.
And then that's why you keep Joey Rickert on the team to platoon a little bit in there.
I guess.
With both those guys. I really don't see how you keep any of the 2 Rule 5 guys unless you start Joey Rickert in the minors or something like that. I don't know how you keep one of these guys.
Yeah, they're going to be
But again, you shouldn't care about keeping those guys.
Make, yeah. I mean, the problem is they're going to be interesting roster decisions when you come. And we talk about how the Orioles hate to have guys with no options, right? Because it hamstrings you from what you can do. It's kind of the same thing with the platoon. If you can only have a guy who only bats against lefties, that means you have to have a guy on the bench to play that position just for righties or vice versa. So I'm curious to see if they, with Seth Smith, who he's 34 years old. He's been in the league a long time.
It's amazing to me that you can't adapt. And that's crazy.
Yeah. And then you have Hyun-Soo Kim, who doesn't have much of a track record. I'll be curious if they try with either of these players.
Right. Kim, they didn't
play him against lefties.
Kim, they just said, we're not even going to give you the option to try.
Yeah. And I don't know what his numbers are in Korea with batting against left-handed hitters. I don't know.
But I'm very curious to see how Hyun-Soo Kim comes into this season after a year of American ball.
Yeah.
And getting used to the grind of American baseball.
He certainly should get a hit in spring training.
One would think.
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah, one would think. But I like the move from Seth Smith. I think it's It's good you save money. It's good addition by subtraction.
Right.
I think Giovanni Gallardo, I think, is bad, so I'm glad he's gone. And it seems to be fit the need. We need a corner outfielder. We need a high OBP.
Right.
You wish he was faster. You wish he was better defensively, but he fits the need.
Yeah.
So it seems like a good fit.
So what else do the Orioles need to do? So they got the outfielder. They got the high OBP. Do they still go after Trumbo? There's lots of talk that they're backing off on Trumbo, but they said the same thing about Chris Davis and then signed him 2 weeks later.
Yeah, you don't believe anything they say.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we're saving some money now with the trade.
Yeah.
$4 million or something.
Yeah.
Do the Orioles spend any more, or is Duquette done?
I think he might be done. I don't know. I think we'll wait and see what's available
Because
at the end of January.
Right now, is this team better than they were in October? The last time they played a game, are they better now?
I don't know. I feel like the Orioles are built to be an 81-win team, and then depending on who plays really well or who really struggles, like if Chris Davis has a 2015 year, all of a sudden we're an 86, 87, 88 win team. If Dylan Bundy pitches like he did at his best, then all of a sudden we're a 91, 92, 93 win team.
Right.
If Ubaldo Jimenez pitches like he did the second half of last year, we're 95. Like, you can make these arguments for all.
Of course.
All of a sudden we're winning 120 games, Bert.
And we've
see you rolling your eyes over
Yeah,
there.
but how many of them were playing against the Red Sox?
And we've seen that, and that's how the Orioles have gotten into the playoffs.
Yeah, so it's hard to answer that question. Are we better than last year? It depends, right?
We're not. This lineup without Trumbo is not better than the lineup was last year with Trumbo.
And with Wellington Castillo is not better than with Matt Wieters?
No, those are both downgrades. So
yeah,
yes, we made a plus. We made an improvement in OBP. Yes, we made an improvement in the outfield. I'll give you that we made a slight improvement in the rotation by trading in a full year of Dylan Bundy.
And addition by subtraction. I think this team is honestly burned off by not having Giovanni Gallardo.
I agree. So I'll give you those. But this lineup is still not better. Right now you're looking at Trey Mancini as your DH.
Right. Who's a question mark?
Who's a big question mark.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're going to have to still make another move. Whether it's Trumbo or Batista or Angel Pagan or
Pagan, yeah.
Pagan.
But I like Pagan.
I prefer going Angel, Pagan, go with the opposites.
Yeah.
I don't who else is out there? Michael Sanders, there's been talk of. They're gonna have to add.
Yeah. You just keep on saying names, I'll keep on correcting you.
They're gonna have to add someone else to this roster.
Okay.
This cannot be the opening day roster.
And they will though, right? Because there's a ton of Chris Carter you can add to the list. Like there's a ton of Jose Batista you can add to the list.
I mentioned him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I like that move.
But he called him Jose Tuesdays.
Jose Batista.
Bring him home. Former Oriole. Bring him back.
But Thursday, I'm sure that Baltimore will embrace him as a former Oriole.
He will be.
It'd be like Eddie Murray when they brought back Eddie Murray.
Oh, yeah. Same thing.
Right. I will boo Jose Batista on opening day, but then I will cheer as he hits home runs.
Will you cheer? Will you, if you're in the outfield, if you're in the bleachers, you catch home run, will you throw it back? Say, I don't want this ball by Jose Batista.
I would just because Twitter would go crazy.
It'd be zany.
How about this? If they sign Jose Batista, I'll buy a Batista Oriole jersey.
Oh my gosh.
Jersey or Jersey?
Jersey.
Yeah,
No.
Let's get it right.
I'm sticking to $20, not $150.
And I'm not buying a real Orioles jersey until they get the Under Armour jerseys in 2020.
That's right. Don't invest.
Well, there's two deals where I buy a jersey. I'll buy a jersey today if one thing happens. World Series in one scenario. World Series happens, I'm getting my Buck Showalter
just
jersey.
Going. You go.
I'm getting Buck Showalter
It's probably
jersey.
Buck Showalter.
That's what I'm going with.
That's probably the one.
There's also a scenario where I can buy a jersey tomorrow.
What's that?
If something happens, I will go tomorrow and buy a jersey.
A 10-year deal for Manny Machado.
Exactly.
Oh,
if they re-sign Manny Machado, I will go in right now and sign a Manny Machado contract. I mean,
you'll sign a contract.
I'll sign a contract saying I'll buy a jersey from Manny Machado.
Yeah.
And I'll go along and say, then you will probably never be buying a real jersey.
But Josh, I agree with you, and I think it's inevitable that we'll sign another power bat, like strike out a lot power bat.
We have to
for a discounted price. Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm not holding my breath.
But I can't see going into this opening day lineup without another big bat, because we know that's the Dan Duquette way is hit home runs to make up for a average pitchers.
Yeah, and we'll see. But again, I don't know how much better Michael Saunders will be as opposed to Trey Mancini. I guess we'll find out. Some comments from the chat room. John says, "Bring back Miguel Tejada to hit against lefties."
A little old.
Yeah, well.
Is he on the Hall of Fame ballot?
I mean, we brought back Sammy Sosa. We brought back Vlad Guerrero. We've been known to bring back guys who should be retired and give them one more year.
You look at the Hall of Fame ballot; it's filled with guys who played 1 or 2 years in Baltimore
at the end of their career. When they sucked. Yeah,
exactly.
Shout out to you, Pete. You guys see that comment? I'm sorry, I'm reading comments in the chat room, but you guys see? Speaking of comments, Ken Rosenthal wrote an article about how there's 200 employees who haven't been don't have contracts for next
I think it was 70.
Season. Oh, 70.
I think it was 70 employees.
Okay, 70
in the warehouse that do not have contracts for next year yet.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It makes no sense.
Oh wow. You know,
it's scouts and other people just don't have contracts. Coaches, minor league coaches.
Yeah, it's
that's weird.
Unfortunately, it fits into the stereotype of Peter Angelos
as being what? As being cheap, as willing to take any kind of advantage.
But I don't know how that works.
I don't know either. Is that normal? Do most teams have a handful of players?
I don't have a contract right now at my job.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in the warehouse, isn't that kind of a normal job?
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works. Can you trade a scout member?
I was just asked to fill out a sheet to say if I'm planning on coming back next year, but I don't know for sure if they want me back till later in the year.
Right.
Yeah.
Miguel Tejada filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in August 2015.
Oh, so maybe he might be looking for a job. He might be looking for, maybe we can bring him back.
Yeah, but just because he wants a job doesn't mean he can hit the ball. Yeah, I mean, he could be our intern.
Some other
I'll
comments.
Give him $20 a week.
Chris commented, not at all. And then his next comment was, I agree completely. I assume what that was a reference to, and this is being done live time. Josh said something, and Chris said, not at all. Then I said something, and he said, I agree completely. I think that's how that went down. Jacob comments, Giovanni is trash. Again, I completely agree with that. And Chris says, we'll have another season like 2015 with this lineup, and that the rotation, if not worse. And yeah, I mean, the rotation's a big deal, right? Is Jimenez good? How good is he for how long?
Is
Bundy going to stay healthy?
That's the big one.
The
big one is, what can Dylan Bundy do?
It's all of them, right? Can Kevin Gossman become an ace? Where we saw signs of that last year.
Right.
For stretches.
Can Tillman continue to build on?
Yeah. Can Wade Miley not suck completely? All these, I think, are opening questions that, for some extent, other teams deal with.
How many games do we have to see Mike Wright start?
Yeah. But when you are the Boston Red Sox, you know Chris Dale's going to be good. You know David Price is going to be good. You have
at least in the regular season.
Yeah. You have questions about Eduardo Rodriguez, but you don't have questions about your top. We kind of have some more questions about our top.
You want to think that, but didn't San Diego invest a bunch of money into David Price, and then he came out and sucked?
Not San Diego.
No.
All right, where did he go?
David Price.
Am I blank? I'm got the wrong guy bringing the show to stop.
I mean, Zach Greinke went to the Diamondbacks.
Zach Greinke, but I thought it was David Price who sucked somewhere else.
But that's the thing, though. If David Price sucks, they still have Chris Sale.
Yeah.
And Drew Pomeranz.
Yeah, and they're all not going to suck.
No.
It's possible that all our guys do.
But see, our biggest thing is we got to make it into the playoffs so that we can face guys like Price and Chris Sale in the playoffs. And Price
have them choke.
Price has a track record of choking in the playoffs. Chris Sale has never once even played in a playoff game.
Price doesn't. He's gone stretches where Price has struggled. He doesn't really scare me. Chris Sale is dominant.
Yeah, we can't hit him.
Right.
Yeah, no. I would be okay going up against David Price. Chris Sale.
Best thing we can hope for in a Chris Sale start is that he hates the logo that they put on his jersey for the playoffs, and he tears his jersey up and he's not allowed to pitch.
We need to have throwback nights whenever Chris Sale's lined up to pitch.
That would be amazing. Hey, I don't want to crap on this anymore or laugh at somebody else's misfortune, but I thought this was funny. I'm going to show the guys in studio here. Here's an autographed baseball by Miguel Tejada with a number 10 next to it.
Yeah.
This is his bankruptcy paperwork for Southern District of Florida, August 2015. Notice he doesn't put the little 10 next to his signature on his bankruptcy filing.
Wait, does Cal Ripken put an 8 there? I don't know. I think you just do that because you sign baseball memorabilia. I don't think you sign it when
I thought it was like a permanent thing. Like even when you're filing bankruptcy, you still put your jersey number at the end of your signature.
You think Cal Ripken at the end of his checks puts HOF?
Probably. He should. He certainly should. He's earned it.
When I sign stuff for 336ers, I put the 336 at the end. I don't do that on my normal paperwork though. But maybe I should start doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign my electronic filing on my tax return with a little 336 at the end.
Yeah, that's too many numbers. Maybe we should each get one number. I'll be 3, you be 3, Josh be 6 or something. Each get one number.
Yeah, because that would make sense because I do double the amount of work for the podcast. The amount of you two added together.
Fine, I'll have the number of Babe Ruth, and you can have the number of Melvin Mora. Take that.
I'll take Ryan Flattery.
Hey, I'll take Melvin Mora.
I went with Babe Ruth instead of Ryan Flattery for a reason, but thanks.
I'll take him. Somebody's got to take him.
Yeah.
You guys could have at least combined and been Eddie Murray.
Ooh, nice. All right. What else? Let me pull up these old show notes. What else we got going on here in Baltimore sports? Blast, Seth Smith.
I mean, the Ravens had their end of the season presser.
State of the Union. State of the Ravens, yeah.
Did you guys watch State of the Ravens?
No, I saw some clips of Bisciotti saying how firing everybody is not the way to run a business.
Even though 2 years ago when we finished under 500, he said, this ain't going to slide.
Yeah.
And here we are 2 years later and still haven't made the playoffs since the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. But
and we're still keeping the same crew around.
But the majority of people will praise Steve Bisciotti for his comments. Steve Bisciotti, people love him.
Yeah, I like him too.
Really?
I just, it's 3 years removed from being in the playoffs. It's unacceptable, in my opinion. And it shows with an empty stadium. It shows with the fan base. For me, you're not going to find a bigger Ravens fan than me, who I've lost interest because they're terrible.
What's your response to them discussing raising ticket prices?
We sold our PSLs.
Did you really?
My father did. Yep. Yep.
Why? What was the was this like a family meeting or did he do it on his own?
It was a bit of a family meeting. He called me and said, "Hey, I got an offer for the PSLs. Would you be fine with me selling them?" And I said, "Sell them."
Oh my gosh! You have a couple of down years and you sell the PSLs?
Well, no, it's very little to do with the down years. Speaking personally, I can't go to the games that much anymore because I got to get a babysitter, and it turns into an all-day thing. And I got a 75-inch 4K television at home, and I can. That's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing is going to a football game sucks. Staying at home, watching it on a big 4K TV with some friends over.
The Wi-Fi at the stadium sucks.
Free beer.
What about the tailgating? The
tailgating is fun. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
And you're a tailgater, bro.
But here's the thing. We'll still go to games, but we're not committed to the PSL to every single home game. You can get a ticket to a game if you want to go to a game. And I'll still go. Sure, I'll still go to a game.
If they start winning again, it'd be a lot harder.
Sure. Yeah, and it should be. It should be harder. And if that's what comes of all this, I'm fine with not going as long as they're winning.
Right. If they win, it's worth spending that extra money for those other games. The other thing Steve Bisciotti did say that was interesting, and when asked about people being upset that Marty Mornhinweg did not get fired, his response
you
immediately.
You just killed that pronunciation. Nice job.
I got that one down.
Yeah. All right.
You two are birds of a feather.
I can't say freaking Saunders, but all right.
Oh, I've been talking a lot about Marty Mornhinweg.
Yeah, you got that one down.
Yeah. Thanks to the Locked On.
Oh,
Ravens.
yeah.
Remember, I got to keep talking.
You're the
Mornhinweg.
expert. Yeah.
But he quickly went to say, Joe's happy. My quarterback wants him back. So clearly, Joe is the guy who made the decision to keep Marty around. There was definitely a decision of Joe doesn't want his 10th offensive coordinator in 9 years or whatever.
I like it that he's making the most money, but he hasn't been to the playoffs. He's a low tier mediocre quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
why are they letting this guy call the shots? Because he's getting the biggest paycheck.
Well, right, and they want him even more involved.
How many more years are we going to give him?
Yeah.
Steve Smith was on the show Speak Yourself today. Have you ever heard of that show?
Mm-mm.
It's on Fox Sport. I don't know, but I pulled the audio.
I like how you just cracked
I don't know.
Fox Sports even a thing? Yeah.
I mean, is that a network?
Yeah.
FS1.
FS1. They're trying to rival ESPN. They're not doing a good job rivaling ESPN.
There's a show on there with Jason Whitlock, Chris Carter, Colin Coward, and it's called Speak for Yourself. And they had Steve Smith on there today.
Okay. I don't think Joe's holding the team back. Just like Odell didn't hold the Giants back. It's a team sport. It is collectively 3 phases of the game, win or lose the game. And so when you look at the Baltimore Ravens and what has happened, you look at the Monday Night Football where we got mollywopped against New England. We lost offensively, we didn't perform very well. Special teams, we got embarrassed. And in defense.
I'm going to push you a little harder.
Push me.
Joe Flacco, is he a leader? Ray Lewis said on this stage, on this show, said passion for the game, not the greatest leader.
Okay, when you say passion and you put it up there with Ray Lewis,
Or Steve Smith.
Everybody compared to Ray Lewis is a little sparkler. It's a bad comparison. Joe operates or goes about things differently because here's the thing. Ray Lewis can dog cuss, he can go all those things, and all he has to do is hit someone. Joe Flacco has to do, if he does what Ray does, and then all of a sudden try to remember what the offense coordinator is telling you that.
I don't want my quarterback to be that emotional.
No.
And you can't make someone into who they're not.
Exactly.
What the story about Flacco in 13, 14, 15, and 16 is 3 of the last 4 years they've missed the playoffs. He's not an elite passer, short and intermediate. All right? Those are the things that Bisciotti should be talking about. As a passer, a pure passer, at this point in this league, given all the experience he's got, he should be completing more than 62% of his passes.
But I think here's the thing that is not put in count. Not put in count, he's coming off a severe ACL injury. And I think personally, he was not 100% because I was injured. And I know I wasn't 100%. As soon as I started feeling good, I hurt my ankle. So he is playing behind, in which it takes a full 13, 14 months for you to really feel comfortable. Then we had some injuries on the line. So all of a sudden, now you're getting a little pressure.
Do you buy that Joe has been injured and trouble coming back? That's been an argument I've made for a few weeks now.
I buy the argument. This is what I've been thinking a lot more about. I buy the argument that it's a team game. I think one of the things, like I was thinking about what went well in 2012 that's not going well.
People caught the ball.
Well, he didn't have amazing receiver in 2012. Like he had Anquan Bolden, who was great.
But he had Ray Rice.
He was like Steve Smith. He had Ray Rice, but our Buck Allen and Terrence, we have Dennis Pitta this year.
Torrey Smith and some bombs.
Yeah. Well, he got the pass interference call, but
right.
Not that much better than Mike Wallace, right? Like I think it's not the playmakers that are missing. I think it goes back to the offensive line. And I was looking at the numbers, 2012 sacks, and there was about the same sacks as this year. I thought, well, that's weird. But you remember the 2012 season. That's when Brian McKinney got healthy right before the playoffs, and he started playing really well. And all of a sudden, for the first time all year, with Brian McKinney holding down left tackle, our offensive line gelled in that run towards the playoffs, and Joe Flacco was getting a lot of time.
Yeah.
You watch any NFL game, I almost guarantee you every time the more successful quarterbacks are going to be the ones who have more than 2 seconds.
Right. They got time.
Yeah, you're talking about the fastest receivers in the world. If you give Joe enough time, he'll find somebody. But our offensive line, did we ever have the same offensive line for 2 weeks straight? Like it was
a lot of injuries.
Through injuries and through a lot of talk was about Zuda at center.
Right, he was horrible the entire season.
Yeah.
Yanda had a career year, but that's one guy on a 5-man line.
Yeah. I mean, look at how Dallas is doing it this year. Look at how the Patriots do it every year. I mean, these teams
cheating.
Well, cheating, yeah. but for the most part, and watch the playoff games this weekend. The teams who protect their quarterback are the teams who are going to be more successful. And for the Ravens, if you give Perriman more time, Mike Wallace more time, Steve Smith more time, they'll get open. One of the reasons we always do those little 5-yard dump-offs to Dennis Pitta is Flacco gets nervous, and he throws throws a little dump-off. Now, would a better quarterback, would Aaron Rodgers be able to break a tackle and go downfield? Sure. But you got to work with what you got. And so if you want Joe to be successful, yes, you got to get playmakers, though I think we have those playmakers. I think the biggest thing is we need to invest, and we haven't been investing. We've been letting guys walk. Assembly, most recently, offensive lineman, one of the best in the league, let him walk to the Raiders. If you want to be good and you want Joe to be successful, don't just get playmakers. Get guys on the offensive line. Spend money on the offensive line. I mean, we have Alex Lewis.
We got Alex Lewis.
4th-round pick.
Right.
This rookie 4th-round pick, he's our starting guard. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, except he is playing pretty well.
He is playing well.
And Stanley is playing extremely well, too. So we do have some youth there that will help.
But it does show how they're not really investing financially into the offensive
line. Can they afford to because of Joe's contract?
Well, and that's where that's what makes football different than every other sport, or at least different than baseball.
Makes it hard.
It's the salary cap.
Yeah.
Right. Because you then have to decide how much of our money is worth this offensive line.
That's like a whole nother sport in itself is managing the salary.
Yeah, it is. It's a whole.
Oh, I know. Just read anything that Brian McFarland writes for Russell Street Report,
and I get lost so quickly.
He's amazing at it, but it's so hard to follow. That it's those salary cap rules are complicated. But I mean, I think that's what. Like, if I know everyone talks about bringing in Marsh or bringing in a playmaker. For me, no one really talks about it. For me, the number one priority is finding an excellent center.
Yeah, I think
depth to the offensive line.
The reason people aren't talking about that is because we added depth to the offensive line this year.
Yeah, that was hopefully those guys will progress.
Right. So the idea is that Stanley and Lewis will progress. We need a center. That's got to change.
A center
cannot come back.
Yeah, and we need a right tackle because I don't want Yonda over there right tackle.
Right.
We need right tackle as a starting right tackle as well.
Yeah, I mean, if Yonda does not get that surgery and decides to just live with his arm his shoulder how it is, then he will be a permanent right tackle.
You think so?
I think so.
What does film study say?
I don't know. We'll have to ask him. But, I mean, if he doesn't have that, the whole reason he's playing right tackle is because of his arm.
Yeah.
So.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's why he was moved.
I thought there was just a need there, right tackle. Because I would imagine it'd be harder to find a good right tackle than a right guard. But I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the expert.
Me either.
But I do
wonder
on the you talking about that second step of being able to get out of the pocket or get away from a tackle. I do wonder how much of that was Joe still recovering and not having that mobility, not having that trust in himself to go to that next level, which then causes the quick dump outs. Because remember, at least most of the season, if not the entire season, he was also wearing a knee brace.
Yep.
We would see that every time he'd slide, and it would look horrible.
Yeah, and people would make fun of him and say, and Caleb Joseph even offered him lessons. And it wasn't that he didn't know how to slide.
He's wearing a knee brace.
The knee brace just got caught in the turf. You can't slide with the knee brace.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think all that's got to give me some hope for next season. But it sucks to now be here and not have the Ravens in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially when we just watched 4 ugly playoff games. That the Ravens could have been competitive in any of those games.
Oh yeah, we were better than the Dolphins. We are better than Dolphins, and we're better than the Texans.
Yeah, remember we destroyed the Dolphins.
Yeah, we're better than the Texans. I think Oakland, was better than us. I mean, they beat us, but they were just unfortunate that their quarterbacks were hurt.
Yeah, they had some bad injuries.
Yeah. Some comments from the chat room. John says Toronto. Going back to your David Price conversation, I know David Price did pitch for Tampa Bay, then went
Tampa. He stayed
Toronto.
there. Yeah,
but just getting around. He just needs to go to the Orioles to finish off that the AL East.
The AL East. Yeah. Except and I'm sure he will sign. He will sign on the Orioles after his career's over.
After he plays for the Yankees, and then
was it
maybe Sabathia will come back?
Was it Nick Johnson? Is that the guy who did that? Who we had for half a year
have him,
after he already played for every other team in the AL East?
Yeah, and who was the other utility fielder? Kelly, the utility infielder who's played for I think every team.
Oh, right.
A couple years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on his
name.
Johnson.
Kelly Johnson.
Yes.
That's the guy. Jacob says, Matt, did you sign my baseball 336 at the end? Yeah, I'm sure that was me.
I think you did.
That's kind of my thing. And Johnson,
isn't that the only baseball you've signed?
I've signed more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, at least one more.
All right.
John says 105.7 says CJ Mosley's not any good. This is why, John, we tell people not to listen to 105.7, but to listen to podcasts.
I mean, Mosley did have a down year, but I'm not ready to give up on him yet.
Yeah, saying he's not any good, it means he's not good enough to be on your football team, which is silly, ridiculous.
Right, but he's not the star. He's not the Ray Lewis replacement because no one will ever replace Ray Lewis.
Yeah, it's a tough Ryan Miner situation there.
He's better than Ryan Miner.
Chris says, thanks for the live time, love. I'll catch the rest of the show later. Keep it real. I will keep it real.
Why are you reading a goodbye statement?
Reading everybody's goodbye.
No, because I wanted to make a mention at keep it real, like Baltimore Blast, lower your beer prices, keeping it real. I just want to get that in there one more time. Yeah. Jacob does not like your Flacco excuse. He says that's not a legitimate excuse. He had a whole offseason to heal.
A whole offseason to heal from an ACL injury. That's a pretty major injury. And then the whole offseason's what? 6 months? 7 months?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Jacob said it, Josh. Don't come at me, all right?
If
Jacob.
If we go outside and slip on some ice, it's going to take me a little longer than 6 months to get better.
Well, you're not exactly an elite athlete. Let's be honest here.
So Joe Flacco just finished his 8th year in the NFL. I'm looking back at these things because I completely forgot the Ravens were in the playoffs in 2014. Won the Super Bowl January of 2013.
Right, the 2012 year. Yeah.
Yep. And then the 2014 year, we played 2 playoffs games. We beat Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh and then lost to New England at New England. So it's been 2 years since we've been in the playoffs.
Right.
And if Joe's just finished his 8th season, he made it to the playoffs his first 5 years.
Yes.
The first year even making it to the conference championship game.
Yes.
Before losing to the Steelers.
Remember this
3 conference championship games in his first 5 years.
Yes.
Since we won the Super Bowl.
With a great defense.
Since we won the Super Bowl in February 2013, we played 2 playoff games, and that was only in the January 2015.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is a lot of what have you done for me lately? When we were paying him, rookie salary, he was way outperforming it. No rookie quarterback makes the playoffs his first 5 years, or if they do, they're one of the best.
Yeah.
Though we do like Aaron Rodgers or something like that.
Yeah.
Ever since then, it hasn't been anything.
Right, and you got to remember, last season he missed half the season. This season, this Bengals game that just happened was the first time in his career he's played in a meaningless game. That his team has been there for him to even suit up. It's not like
because he was hurt last
didn't
year.
Play in them.
Yeah,
he was hurt last year, so this was the first time. The hatred for Joe Flacco and the call for a new quarterback makes no sense to me.
I don't hate him, and I'm not calling for it. But
in 2 years we'll have this conversation. But yeah, not now.
Am I wrong to be frustrated that we haven't been to the playoffs the last 3 years?
Yeah. And I wonder if there is something too. The money deal. I mean, quarterbacks are the highest paid position in football.
Sure.
That's why you see people like Tom Brady take pay cuts to pay other players. Mm-hmm. It's also, you see it all the time with a guy like Russell Wilson on a rookie contract take his team, or Dak Prescott this year. Right. When you pay a quarterback a rookie contract, it means you can pay all the other positions maybe a little bit more than you otherwise would be able to if your quarterback's making $25 million.
Guys, you guys are spoiled. We have won 2 Super Bowls in the past 16 years.
Yeah.
Most teams don't get to say they won 1 Super Bowl in the past 20 years. We haven't had a team we've only had a team for what? 20 years now? 21 years?
Yeah.
And we've got 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. But what have you done for me lately?
Exactly. We need to calm down.
So we should just settle for the mediocre, vanilla, garbage football we watched all season?
Are you excited that the Orioles, for the past few years, have been built to be an 81 team with the hope of just get hot and you'll get into the playoffs?
Yes, I love it.
The Ravens are built the same way. The Ravens are built to be a team just above 500 with, if things click, we can get in the playoffs. If things really click, Joe takes us through to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but we're not the Ravens aren't the Orioles. The expectations are higher, and it's on the Ravens for being successful that they have those higher expectations than the Orioles.
Yes, the expectations are higher, but I don't know if that's always fair to have expectations that high.
Yeah. I guess, but I was always under the impression. Friends ask, "Hey, how are the Ravens going to do this year?" I don't know, but we'll make the playoffs. We always make the playoffs,
right?
And then we'll see what happens. When you're not even making the playoffs, when you are built to at least make the playoffs, that means you're beating all the teams you should beat, but you're losing to the better teams. And guess who else you're going to play in the playoffs? The better teams.
Right.
Yeah. That's why you can't beat the Patriots. That's why you can't beat the Steelers when the game counts.
But how many Hall of Fame players were on those teams to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
There were a lot. That's why those teams won the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Because it takes time to rebuild.
Drafted those players, groomed those players.
Right.
Yeah, the Ravens, all the things that we're not doing now.
The Ravens became old, and now there's a new class of Ravens.
And they're not as good.
New class. Terrell Suggs, he'll be a Raven again next year, but he is the last of that legacy.
Yeah.
And he is old and too old to play 3 downs. A set of 3 right now, 3 in a row.
One could argue he's too old to play any downs.
You could totally argue that, but he'll be back because he's cheap next year. So it's about the Ravens rebuilding that, And they decided that we're not going to rebuild to be the dominant defense as many years. We want to go on the offensive side. So they're doing things different. And
it's not working.
I don't. The other thing is, how do you build? What I don't understand, how do you build that dominant, last for years, offense or defense when your coordinators are always changing, and in this salary cap where everyone gets more expensive, you need your players young. You need guys like Stanley and Lewis playing under rookie contracts to out-contribute themselves.
True. You cannot have bad. You can't have bad drafts. You can't afford one bad draft.
You can't. You need young. Perriman missing his first year, and starting this year as his first year, hurt the Ravens. If this was his second full year,
hurt him last year, hurt us this year.
Yeah. If this was his second full year, we would be in much better space with him.
Yeah.
So.
Though, I tell you what, if the Orioles don't make the playoffs, we'll have the same conversation.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, we got spoiled the last few years.
Yeah, except that's a little different conversation where that's you got to win now because Manny Machado's going to be gone forever and a Yankee. Yeah. He and Bryce Harper are sending messages back and forth on Facebook.
We'll lose for the next 30 years.
Move on. Yes.
Yeah. And something about me feels, and I've read enough articles to tell me that the Orioles are just going to botch the whole thing with Manny Machado.
Yeah.
Whether that means they re-sign him, but then the rest of the franchise is going to suck the rest of the,
Oh, like the Angels.
Yeah.
That would be the Angels.
They're going to pull Mike Trout, or he's going to go to free agency, and they're not going to get anything for him.
They're going to ask him to take a hometown discount.
Yeah.
We've heard that before.
I don't know. I don't feel good about it. I hope I'm wrong.
The only thing I have hope on is that when the Yankees sign Bryce Harper, they won't be able to afford Manny Machado.
Reverse jinx. That's what I'm going with.
I don't know why you had to even
reverse jinx for the win.
Go there, Bert. There'll be plenty of time to discuss Manny Machado's lack of contract in the episodes to come.
The next 200 episodes.
Oh, yeah. We're coming up on episode 200 here, guys.
I didn't know that.
I keep forgetting.
Hey, what's up? I'm here.
Hey, intern.
We're going to kick it over to the intern with thoughts, corrections, fun facts, analyses.
So, clarification, Vance Worley is in fact a free agent.
Okay, yeah, it was not.
Wait, didn't we say that?
Yeah, no, just
he's
clarifying.
Just clarifying. There wasn't a definitive answer.
But he is a free agent available if we want to bring him back.
Sure, we can bring him back. Yeah. If he's cheap, I have no problem bringing him back for the pay.
It would be to a major league deal probably, so you have to get a spot for him.
Right.
Sure.
And I was looking it up. Stephen Wright will most likely be the fifth man in the Red Sox rotation,
as opposed to Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yes, so the Orioles will only have to face 3 left-handed pitchers rather than 4 in their 5-man rotation.
Still, that's pretty good rotation.
Unless the Red Sox want to run with a 6-man rotation this year.
They won't.
Which is what MLB.com is slightly projecting.
It'll probably come down
JLC and the intern will be happy celebrating.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm already getting a vibe from the intern. He's going back onto the Red Sox.
He's back. Totally back.
No. But fun facts, look up Miguel Tejada. He's not eligible for Hall of Fame voting yet because he was playing in 2014 with the Miami Marlins on a minor league contract.
Oh, look
which means he's not 5 years retired from the league yet.
Huh.
Think about how much money did Miguel Tejada make in his career, I wonder. And that always blows my mind. When those players make millions of dollars and go bankrupt.
Yeah, it's why they are really focusing on player development of also teaching rookies financial management.
Yeah,
they're really because it's a sore spot for both the NFL and MLB that they're trying
and the NBA,
focus on that, especially the NBA and football where you're trying to get that big contract to help out, and then you feel like you owe it to your family and everyone else that struggled with you.
Right.
Do you know where you don't hear those things happening?
MASL?
MASL.
Yes.
In the arena of soccer.
Yeah. Nobody ever said baseball players were the brightest guys in the bunch.
No.
And the typical recovery time for an ACL tear and then a full reconstruction is typically 6 months or longer.
That's what Joe Flacco had?
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that's a very much a case-by-case basis type thing.
Right, and I would imagine, is that 6 months till when you like a normal person's just walking around? Like, at what point do you feel well enough that you're playing full contact football? You know?
Yeah.
I think that's around like 8-9 months.
All right, Dr. Intern.
I'll say it again. What have you done for me lately?
And that's it.
All right, thanks, intern. We have a new review. Do you have it pulled up, Josh?
I do have it pulled up.
Oh, we do?
New review. First review of 2017.
Sweet.
On iTunes. Go on there and give us a review.
Like
we
this
will
guy.
read it to thank you. This one we're going to thank Fast Eddie 1967. Guessing that means he's pretty old.
That's a bicentennial.
1967.
If he's fast and his name's Eddie, let's sign him up for the Orioles, huh? New right fielder.
Maybe so. A great Baltimore sports show. Thumbs up is the subject. I rarely listen to my podcast app on my phone, but ever since a friend of mine introduced me to Section 366, I've been hooked. He does say Section 366.
Yikes.
Eddie,
you think he's writing a review for the wrong podcast?
Yeah, he makes it up here. I've been hooked. Host Bert, Matt, and Josh do a great job of simplifying everything going on in Baltimore sports, whether it be the Orioles or the Ravens or now the Blast. Also, the fact that they have a live show on Facebook every week is pretty neat. Keep up with the good work, guys. Thumbs up, emoticon.
And we do have a live show. You can tune in every Tuesday, 7:30-ish, to check out the show.
Moving to Mondays in like 2 weeks.
We are moving to Mondays, yeah.
I also do have one final correction.
Yes.
So Miguel Tejada, his lifetime earnings for MLB were $96,462,658.
Wow.
This guy blew $100 million.
Well, the first 58 go like that. The first $58.
Right, that's what I hear. That hits that second 50. That makes it a little tougher.
Wow, almost $100 million down the toilet.
Well, you can like us.
I'm pretty sure I could live my entire life with $1
million. Oh,
if
absolutely.
you invest it properly.
Absolutely, you could.
Yeah,
and not go bankrupt.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're forgetting your daughter's college.
They're girls. They just got to marry. They don't have to go to college.
No, they're smart. They'll get scholarships.
Yeah, they're scholarships. I mean, hey, you pay for a reasonable house. You put some money in investments.
Hey, if
you live a normal life.
I mean, I can live on a teacher's salary and not go bankrupt, right? Like that.
Sure. If the Democrats would have gotten elected, by the time our kids are in college, it would be free, right?
Yeah, and there's still hope, right? How long
I don't think Donald Trump's going to give free college to anybody.
No, but how long will the Donald phase last?
4 years.
Very long.
No more than 8.
Yeah. And maybe a month. Who knows the way things are going.
See, Josh is going back to the Baltimore
That's
CFL
a good move. That's a good move. He's jumped off the bandwagon.
Yeah, I got it
He's
right
doing
over
an
here.
intern jumping off the bandwagon. Things start going south.
Nah, I thought I'd just go with something different tonight.
All right, boys and girls, our song's done, so we got to wrap this thing up. Like us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook.
Sure.
Yeah.
Follow us on the Twitters at Section 336 Show. You can follow me on Twitter at Section 336. You can follow Bert
at Bert Rody.
You can follow Josh
at Josh Soroka.
You can follow the intern
at WW.
But I want to recommend it. Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go Ravens, go Orioles, and go Blast.
Section 336 is a affiliate of 24/7 Networks. Find Section 336 on UtahStreetReport.com.
And we're out.